Okay, let's dive in. We are dropping you right into the thick of it at Oakmont Country Club, 125th U.S. Open. And look, if you follow golf even a little, Oakmont, it's not just a course, well, it's legendary. Probably the toughest test in the U.S.
Oh, absolutely. And Friday, round two, it definitely lived up to every bit of that fearsome reputation, no question.
Yeah, it sure did. So this deep dive, it's specifically for you. We're working from the source material. You've got the recap of that Wild Friday and the look ahead to round three.
Exactly. Our mission really is to unpack all of that for you. Pull out the key stuff, the standout moments, the big names struggling, and try to get a handle on what makes Oakmont such a brute, but also, like, fascinating, based purely on what these sources are telling us.
And Friday wasn't just, another round. It had real drama. Some historic moments, actually, really set the table for moving day on Saturday.
A pivotal day for sure.
Absolutely. So let's talk Friday then, round two. How exactly did Oakmont, put the screws to everyone? What did the sources say?
Well, the picture from the sources is pretty clear. Oakmont was, let's say, in full beast mode. It demanded that surgical ball striking, obviously, but the sources really stressed the mental side, unshakable discipline, and, crucially, being able to bounce back.
Bounce back from mistakes.
Exactly. Because trouble is just, it's waiting around every corner there, you will find it.
And some of the details in the sources, they really paint that picture, like the greens.
Well, the greens. Fast is an understatement. The sources mention speeds consistently over 15 on the stip meter.
15, wow.
Yeah. I mean, think putting on glass, but glass with, like, hidden hills.
Okay, yeah.
Combine that with really narrow fairways. Thick rough described as just brutal. Yeah. Just getting the ball around was a major challenge.
So just finishing the round feels like a win sometimes.
Pretty much, yeah. But amidst all that carnage, one guy didn't just survive. Sam Burns. He had what the sources are calling the round of the tournament so far.
A 65, -5 at Oakmont.
Sensational is the word the sources use. And they frame it as historically significant, too. One of the lowest U.S. Open rounds ever there. And it wasn't, just luck. The sources talk about courage, incredible control, and just steel-nerved putting on a day the course was taking names.
Incredible stuff. And he wasn't totally alone under par after 36 holes, which, is saying something there.
Right. J.J. Spawn was mentioned, playing with what the sources called quiet precision, and Victor Hovland, too.
Hovland's known for that composure, that ball striking.
Exactly. He put himself in a good spot. And it's interesting, isn't it, seeing those guys handle it so well when, well, some other big names really didn't.
Let's talk about that struggle, because often the most gripping stuff comes when the stars are feeling the heat. Rory McIlroy. What a day he had on Friday.
Oh, man. A total roller coaster is how the sources put it. Started with that disastrous triple bogey early on, and you could see the frustration. The sources mentioned him smashing a tee marker, tossing a club, like real raw emotion you don't often associate with the pro game.
Yeah. You really don't see that from him much. Shows how much Oakmont can, get under your skin.
It really does. But then the champion in him kicked in. He battled back.
Yeah.
And that birdie on 18, clutch doesn't even cover it.
Just to make the cut right, on the number.
Exactly. +6. Making it right on the number. That really sums up the fine line at Oakmont, doesn't it? Weekend play versus heading home early.
And plenty went home early. Some big names missed that cut line. Another reminder of just how unforgiving Oakmont is.
Like Bryson DeChambeau, the defending champ.
Yeah, what happened there?
Finished way back, +10. The sources point to errant drives mainly, and the putter just went cold. Classic Oakmont punishment for inaccuracy.
Darton Thomas.
JT was +12. Had a second round 78 that, well, it kind of blew up. There was one moment the sources highlighted.
Yeah.
A 4-putt on the par 3 12.
Wait, 4 putts? On a par 3 green? Ouch.
Yeah. And the sources used that specific moment, that 4-putt, as sort of emblematic. It shows how tiny mistakes just get magnified like crazy there. One slip and boom, disaster.
Man, so you've got the struggle, the grind, but Friday also had a moment of just pure, amazing magic.
Victor Perez, hole-in-one. Par 3 6th.
Get out. Really?
Yep. Perfect 7-iron right in the cup. And the sources note this is the first ace in a U.S. Open at Oakmont since way back in 1983.
Wow. That's history right there.
Yeah.
Instantly part of Oakmont lore.
Absolutely unforgettable moment.
Incredible. Okay, so Friday gave us drama, history, struggle, setting the stage perfectly. Now Saturday, moving day. What does that mean at a place like Oakmont?
Well, it's huge. It's usually the day the real contenders separate themselves, and anyone who isn't totally on their game starts to fall back fast.
And the course gets harder.
That's the expectation for the sources, yeah. The USGA will likely tuck pins in tougher spots, maybe try to get the greens even slicker if that's possible. The test just intensifies.
So who's in the mix? Sam Burns leads, obviously. How's he looking according to the sources?
They describe him as having confidence, momentum, the swing looks controlled, putting seems dialed in, there's a sense of belief around him.
But he's got company breathing down his neck.
Oh, for sure. Hovland and Spahn are right there. But then you look a bit further back. The lurking stars.
Like who?
Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, both at +4. Brooks Koepka's a bit closer, +2.
Yeah.
The sources make a point about Rahm and Koepka. They've got that, major championship grit, that mental toughness that seems almost tailor-made for an Oakmont battle.
Right, they won't be intimidated. And what about Rory? Back at +2.
He'll be out earlier. Needs a low one, like really low, to get back into the conversation. Be interesting to see if he can carry that fight from Friday over 18 holes.
And weather. Could that play a part on Saturday?
Could do. Forecast mentioned in the sources is partly cloudy, some sun, temps around 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius, but elevated humidity.
Humidity. Yeah, that can affect how the ball flies, right? Feels a bit heavier. Plus stamina.
Exactly. Drains the energy over a long, tough walk, and there's always that classic Oakmont threat afternoon thunderstorms.
Always looming. Could mean delays, disrupt rhythm.
Yep. The USGA will be keeping a very close eye on the radar, you can bet on that.
Okay, so we've talked about the action, the scores, the drama. Let's dig into the why. Why is Oakmont so tough? What about its design, its architecture, makes it this unique challenge, according to the sources?
Well, it's pretty unique structurally. The sources point out it's literally cut in half by the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
You can see it from the course.
Oh, yeah. 7 holes on one side, 11 on the other.
That's wild. How does that split affect things?
It seems to create these, different zones, maybe slightly different wind conditions, different sight lines. The sources suggest it forces players to constantly adapt. You cross a turnpike, maybe things feel a bit different, demands total focus.
Constant adjustment. And the sources pick out some specific holes that are just killers, right? Like the very first green.
Yeah, the first green. Described as treacherous. The material says even short putts there might need like a triple read because the slope is so severe.
A triple read on your first green? Welcome to the U.S. Open at Oakmont.
Pretty much sets the tone, doesn't it? Then there's the par 3 third.
What's the challenge there?
Demands almost perfect ball flight, the sources say. Got to land it just so to hold the green. Anything slightly off, you're scrambling hard just to make par.
And later on, that short par 4, the 17th.
Ah, yes. The sources portray that one as the ultimate risk-reward hole. You can make eagle if you're brave and execute perfectly.
Disaster lurks.
Big-time disaster. It's exactly the kind of hole that could decide the whole championship late on Sunday, or even shake things up massively on moving day.
And tying it all together, those greens we mentioned earlier.
They really are the heart of Oakmont's defense system. Terrifying, lightning fast. And the sources use the word crowned.
Crown, what does that mean exactly? Like domed?
Yeah, it's sort of domed or turtle-backed. They slope away from the center. So even if you think you've hit a decent putt, if the speed isn't absolutely perfect, gravity just takes over. The ball trickles, gathers speed, and can easily end up way past the hole or even roll right off the green. The sources are pretty blunt. You need the absolute sharpest short game and nerves of steel just to survive putting there.
It sounds like a course designed specifically to find any weakness you have, mental or physical.
That's exactly the sense you get. It rewards utter precision and just punishes anything less. Hesitation, doubt, a slight miss. It finds it.
Okay, so let's connect the dots here for you, the listener. Why should you really pay attention to this U.S. Open at Oakmont? What's the big takeaway from digging into these sources?
Well, the narrative the sources build is really compelling. Friday wasn't just golf scores. It was packed with, raw emotion, historical moments, genuine drama. You had Burns showing it can be done, Rory showing incredible fight even when things go wrong, huge names like Thomas and DeChambeau getting humbled by the course itself.
Right, and that perfectly tees up Saturday. Moving day is going to define the story going into Sunday.
Exactly. And following this, as the sources lay it out, it's more than just watching a tournament. It's like a masterclass in what golf at its toughest is all about.
Yeah.
That surgical skill, yes, but maybe even more. The mental strength, the sheer resilience needed. The ability to recover from failure, which is inevitable there.
Yeah, understanding why the brutal architecture, those crazy greens, it helps you appreciate everything more, doesn't it? Like why Burns 65 was so special, why Rory digging deep to make the cut mattered, and why guys who usually dominate just couldn't solve the Oakmont puzzle this time.
Absolutely. It highlights those razor-thin margins. You see who thrived under that immense pressure for 36 holes and who cracked.
It's a really detailed, almost forensic look at performance under pressure at the highest level.
When the test is designed, essentially, to break you.
So yeah, this 125th U.S. Open at Oakmont, it's shaping up to be exactly what this championship is supposed to be. Brutal, dramatic, revealing, and probably unforgettable.
For sure. If Sam Burns keeps this up on this stage, wow. But like we've said, and the sources really drive this home, Oakmont is the great equalizer. Nothing is guaranteed. Every single shot feels heavy there.
Which kind of leads us to a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on as you watch the rest of the weekend unfold. Given everything we've heard from the sources about Oakmont, how it punishes the tiniest mistake, how it demands bulletproof course management, what does this specific tournament really tell us about the absolute limits of pressure, mental and technical, in elite sport?
And maybe even how does that kind of resilience under extreme pressure translate, beyond golf into any high-stakes field where precision and bouncing back are critical?